Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are here as Austria. We're working to form ourselves a Holy Roman Empire. Hey, and there is electric railways. So, I think I need to take a little break and electrify the country. Or at the very least, electrify the places where we've got ourselves motor industries, of which there are quite a few. Baden, Partium, Franken, and Württemberg we'll start with. Baden will get 10 levels of power plants. Württemberg, Franken, and Partium. Where's Partium? Partium is here. Let me see. Bohemia, we're going to need 5 levels of power plants. Schlesien and Tifabene, or Schlesien, rather. Or Schlesien. Here. We're just going to rename this state Schlesien, because this is a unified state now. And Tifabene is over here somewhere, right? Oh, here we go. Shift for 5. Alright. And then Westphalen. We need 10 levels. Already got 5. Bukovina, we need a couple. Rhineland, we need 5. And then Ostgalizien, we need 10, which I think nope, Ostgalizien doesn't have any. Alright. Now, I am spending some cash unwisely. I have some unrealized taxes. Is my leader a tax burner? No, he's not. Why do I... Oh, it's probably because of angry movements? No. Some unrealized taxes in Ruhr. But okay, all these are timed modifiers, so I don't need to worry about that too much. I have Westphalen incorporating, right? Yes, I do. Alright, so... From here... Yeah, I need to cut costs. I am spending a lot on subventions and subsidies. So, unfortunately, much as I enjoy having very small military bonuses, army offense and defense from the combined Austrian armaments conglomerate, I need to stop subsidizing these buildings. It is getting too expensive to pay for. That's the simple fact. So, paper mills, fertilizer plants, explosives factories. All of you need to be independently profitable at this point. Let's go to artillery foundries. You can't be. You're not profitable. Munitions plants, not profitable. Rye farms, not profitable. Wheat farms, not profitable. We're ending the free ride era. Coal mines, absolutely not. You definitely need to be independently profitable. Can't do that yet. Don't have enough electrification. Sulfur mines, same deal. Alright. So I've significantly cut subsidies. Now, subventions. I'm still subsidizing ports, railways, and power plants. I think I need to keep those. Subventions, yeah, it's just got to be small arms, steel, and... Ooh, I think I got to keep the one on rubber. But small arms and steel... we've got to cut those subventions. It's so much. Other people just have to buy our high-powered small arms because they want them, not because we're subvening them. So that significantly cuts down on subventions. I think all the rest of these I can afford. The rubber one is an import subvention, I believe, because I don't actually produce any rubber here in Austria, so I think that's gotta stay. Yeah, I'm subvening import of rubber, and that's just what it is. Like, that's gotta stay because I've gotta have rubber for my industry. So from here, we shouldn't have too much of a problem getting these buildings built. And then, I need to keep a closer eye on situations here. Let's see, we got a Turkish uprising in Greece. Japan is supporting the Greeks. Alright, that's fine. And then Medina is experiencing an anarchist revolt. Hey Medina, do you want to become a subject? No. Alright, that's fine. We'll ignore it. We'll ignore it. We'll ignore it. We can chill. Nothing's stopping me from chilling. France not being very chill, but that's okay. That's a France problem. Let's see. Yeah, we're getting a lot of liberty desire gain on the part of Hanover due to this infamy, but this infamy will be lower soon. I don't have as much infamy decay as I could have. If Italy wishes to be in a bad situation, we'll let them. I don't care. Let them. If they want to be mad, let them. On the other hand, France, you've traditionally been our allies. You could be our allies again. I see no reason why the French and the Austrians should not be together as we were in olden times. Alright, so at this point, we finished a round of power plants. So that means some of our buildings can get started. Probably Baden and Württemberg are the ones that are good to go. Alright, you're good to go. So, motor industries, electrify. And we'll do... Ooh, no, you don't like that. No, you do like that. Alright. Baden? Electric motors away. Let me see. The ones we're working on are Partium, which means the ones in Franken should be mostly good to go, and indeed they currently are. Motor industries, electrify. And I'm putting all these on motor valve engine because it just makes sense. So, the British are going after Segu. That's right, Britain's doing a republic. It's so curious. Partium is here. Motor industries, electrify. Oh, interesting. The Netherlands and the Dutch East Indies are fighting the British. Well, if the British call on me, I will be an ally. Okay, Victoria 3, Victoria 3, don't crash. Don't crash! Don't crash, Vicky! I need you! Alright, Bowman next. And Schlesien. And some of these areas are still experiencing low. Where are we with steam turbine? We're not close, but we're close with Dreadnought. Do I upgrade to Dreadnoughts? I think I do. I think that's definitely a yes for me. Because I do like Dreadnoughts. I so like Dreadnoughts. You know, the combined Austrian armaments conglomerate are still profitable, so I'm feeling pretty pleased about that. Where's my navy? You. Can you upgrade? They can upgrade. Alright, beautiful. Ironclads turn into Dreadnoughts. We become stronger. Not too much longer on the infamy. And then we should have Hanover going down in infamy, unless there are more people supporting their independence, which there might be. It doesn't seem like there are. Doesn't seem like there are. Now, it's not going to be going down fast, but it should be going down once we get below 50. Very, very slowly. But again, I can feed them more to get more. The liberty desire reduction. Alright, so we did a few more. Bowman should now have power plants, and indeed they do. Motor industries, electrify. Tifa Bene, where are you? Here we go. Motor industries, electrify. And then we're doing Rhineland, Ostgalizien, Rhineland and Ostgalizien. Alright. Easy peasy. So, let's take a look at Hanover. Hanover is going down very, very lightly. Wish they were more entangled. Really, I just wish they weren't being supported by so many countries. Let's see. They're in the midst of a war, but that's okay. But we can't involve ourselves. Wait, are they in this war? The Medina situation. Yeah, crazy? You crazy Hanoverians? You know what? I've been fair play. I've been played real good by them. They did it. They did a solid job. Okay, so I'm negative 137k in the red, but I'm spending 450k on construction goods. So once I finish this round of construction, I should be good to go for at least a bit. Investment pool's got plenty of cash in it, so I can safely live and do all the things I want to do. Let's go to Sealing Strategies. I forgot I'd unlock that. Maybe public motor carriages? Maybe public motor carriages. Italy sides with Egypt. Well, excuse me. What is going on over here now? Can I get arcades? It's costs power. Alright, so I need to electrify the rest of the country before I do that. So, France wants to conquer Lower Egypt and Sinai, and Egypt, along with Italy, want to stop it. Well, I do need a war goal against the French Low Countries, but unfortunately, that's not useful for my current situation. So someone else is gonna... Oh, United States alliance with France. Well, you get them. Now, we have a truce, yes, for another 23 months. And I still have a truce with Hanover for another 27 months. So I will need to take my sweet time to deal with that situation. Do a promotion. The armed forces demand the promotion of Brigadier General Xaver von Weigert, touting his history of loyal and effective service. So many medals adorned his jacket that one could scarcely see the fabric beneath, but it was not yet enough. Chest puffed out with pride, the general smiled as he imagined the look on von Giesch's face when the field marshal learned of his imminent ascension. Their rivalry was legendary among the officers. At last, he would have his due. Von Weigert has earned it. He's promoted to Major General, and the armed forces become happier, or the armed forces will not force our hand and become unhappy, and he becomes less popular. I'm going to give him the promotion. I think that's just fine. We got our first set of power plants built, so I'm going to do the rest of this, of these facilities upgrades straight from the building browser. And now they're all using water tube boilers. And in a minute, we'll find out if that's efficient or not. Explosives factories, I can tune them over to brine electrolysis. Let's leave that be for now. Textile mills, I can produce more. What do automations look like in this industry? Not great. Okay in furniture. Water tube boiler looks better overall. Alright, very good. You still think you'll be better from hand assembly? You think you do. Curious. Tooling workshops. How do you look for rotary valve engine? There's malaria prevention. You're looking better. Paper mills. You think you'll be doing terrible, but you're doing a little better. Let's go to rotary valve engine. A little better, even so. Alright, so that's good. Now, do I have a lot of unemployment? Not that much, so I'm feeling pretty alright about that. I am producing my own tobacco in Bosnia, but we're basically maxed out on that, correct? We're not. I could build more tobacco plants in Bosnia. Let's do it. And I'm going to throw a tariff on imports of tobacco to help Bosnia do its thing. We had a Tunisian uprising happening in northern France. This comes at the same time as their war with Italy. It's probably not going to succeed, but them's the breaks. How are things going in Hanover? Hanover's steady as she goes with Liberty Desire, but that's okay. Now that they're a puppet, the only... So who are they being supported by? They're being supported by Prussia and Russia. And I can definitely take the Prussians and the Russians at the same time. So that's not going to be too much of a factor. Now, let's take a quick look at infamy. 4.1 to grab Westfalen. 5.4 to grab Westfalen. That can't be... These are Schaumburg, Lippe, and Lippe. Alright, that's fine. It's tiny countries. Italy is pushing forward in Rhone, which is a surprise. But, you know, maybe Egypt is tougher than I thought they would be. Oh, this is a nice little soundtrack here. Electricity shortage in Schlesien and South Tyrol. How much are we short? Quite a bit in Schlesien. Why aren't you hiring? Is the same thing happening in South Tyrol? Nope, there's just a lot of demand in South Tyrol, so we'll build another 5 levels. Shouldn't be much of a problem. Franz Joseph, a nihilist, has joined the radical movement. Alright, well, them's the breaks. So, I think from here, I want to do an amount of electrification in the rest of the country. And have that simply be a national priority. Don't crash, Vicky 3. I need you to be able to place buildings. Come on. Come on, you can do this. Alright, here we go. So, we'll do 5 levels in the capital. We're going to need 10 levels in Styria. And for the rest of these, we'll just do 5 levels. A nice even 5 levels. Probably it'll be fine. And this will allow us to get industries like our urban centers and our our other sort of like default buildings over to electric methods, and that'll be nice. We'll be able to upgrade the ranches too. That'll make them more profitable. What about the steel mills? Do you play nice with water tube boiler? No, you do not. What about rotary valve engine? Ooh, not even a little bit. Alright, hand assembly it is. Tooling workshops do look like they're doing better. Furniture manufactories worse. Curious. Furniture manufactories do seem like they're doing better with hand assembly. Textile mills, same deal? Yes, does seem to be that way. All right, well, you get them, I guess. Again, textile mills can go to electric sewing machines, but I don't necessarily wish to do that. Obviously, this is costing me a huge pile of cash, just like the other ones. But this is not actually that that extreme. We need to electrify the country. It's gonna make the standards of living higher, and that's gonna be really good for the regime overall. All this is not great. Let's declare some more interests. I got a lot of interests I can declare. Is there anywhere I want to colonize? I do technically have the capability to. Let's just finish hitting the rest of the interest locations in Europe. We'll snag Persia. We'll snag Ethiopia. We'll snag Zenge, South Africa, and that'll be just fine. That'll let us get up to kind of whatever we wish. It looks like Portugal is really expanding in these areas, which is surprising and interesting. It looks like Britain never made it into Kenya, so that's an avenue we could take. But I don't necessarily wish to expend my precious infamy capacity on engaging in African colonization. That just doesn't seem useful or viable to me. Instead, what I want to do is devour Oldenburg. Oldenburg is 14.5 infamy to eat them, which is pretty inconvenient for my schedule, all things considered. But this national debt, friends, this national debt is really brutal. I'm feeling quite brutal. It's bad. It's bad, friends. It's real, real bad. I hope this power thing... Oh my goodness! The time of Franz Joseph von Habsburg-Lothringen as a ruler has ended. Franz Ferdinand von Österreich-Este is the new Kaiser of Austria. So, Franz Joseph von Österreich-Este is an experienced diplomat, an experienced offensive planner, and he's brave. We have a little bit of a shortage of authority as a result. Let's close out a consumption tax. Let's see. I think the liquor one is going to have to go. But that's okay. And that makes us extremely legitimate. Now, he's a moderate, and he aligns with the armed forces. Interesting. So our new heir is a wee small boy who aligns with the Austrian aristocracy. All right. Interesting. Having an armed forces guy heading up the government has made us really, really legitimate. Crazy legitimacy. That's pretty rad. There are a lot of people who would prefer a National Guard to a secret police force, but I like a secret police force. So we're going to keep it. Obviously, going to proportional or graduated taxation would produce more cash flow for us, but we are a traditionalist country. We don't wish to do such things. No health system. We could enact a private health system. I think that's probably where we're going to end up going. This is going to strengthen the Kleinbürger. Extra standard of living for the upper strata, but it would... pollution health effects reduction. Okay, hold on. This is something different. An increase of decrease the effects of pollution... Excuse me? An increase of the decrease the effects of pollution on the health of your population. So the effects of pollution on the health of your population. Okay. No, an increase of decrease doesn't mean... It is. It is. So that... Paradox... This isn't how dare the government engage in Robert, but it's kind of close. Anyway, so... But I need to be strategic about this because... I will gain the ability to piss off the Industrialists if I make this happen. And I can use that for something. And I think that thing is proportional taxation. Ooh, no, I went to... Nah, I think we're going to be with per capita taxation until the end of the game. Maybe it's technocracy. It's technocracy. That's what we're doing. Alright, so, I know what I need to do. Private healthcare system. And once we have a private healthcare system, we become a technocracy. And that'll be nice. That'll be very nice for our overall legitimacy. We're spending a huge pile of cash on power plants. But it's got to be done, friends. We have to have power plants. The Industrialists are now job creating more than they've job created ever before. And the armed forces, of course, are pleased. Hopefully that will mean good things for our investment pool. So let's go about hitting these buttons. Now that we've built a few of our power plants already. So, where are we? Urban centers. Urban centers are here. Arcades, at least a few. And electric streetlights for at least a few areas. And we'll hit that button again soon enough, as time goes by. Obviously, we've got a lot of electrification to do, but them's the breaks. Private health insurance should have pretty high maximum institution level as well, because we've got a lot of... yeah, them's the breaks. Because we've got a lot of techs related to healthcare unlocked. Opium addiction. Khmer people are experiencing severe effects of opium addiction. The use and abuse of the substance has spread throughout Alsace-Lothringen. The opium eater lies under the weight of incubus and nightmare. He lies in sight of all that he would fain perform, just as a man forcibly confined to his bed by the mortal languor of a relaxing disease, who is compelled to witness injury or outrage offered to some object of his tenderest love. He curses the spells which chain him down from motion. He would lay down his life if he might but get up and walk, but he is as powerless as an infant, and cannot even attempt to rise. Tragic. Increased mortality in Alsace-Lothringen, and -2 standard of living for Khmer people there. Brutal. And that's a success. There's steam turbine. Beautiful. All right, let's get these power plants over to a method that works. All right, so what does that do to the price of coal in our market? It seems to be raising it significantly. No, it doesn't. Where is coal? Where is coal? Show me the coal. Show me the coal. It's here. Coal's doing just fine. All right, coal's price is not being meaningfully impacted by the switch over to electrical power, and we're going for full electrification. So do we still have power shortages only in Partium? We think we have insufficient construction for the investment pool, but we don't actually, because as soon as the government's not building 1 million power plants, we're going to have sufficient construction for the investment pool, and that's gonna be fun. So I think as soon as this round finishes, we'll hit that button again. There we go. And I think now that we've got railways in all of our areas, let's just go ahead and hit that button for the railway button for all of our plantations. Frankly, I didn't realize we didn't have them already. We'll go to electric fences and refrigerated railway cars for livestock ranches as well. That's going to make them significantly more productive. Mechanized slaughterhouses, we don't have access to that yet. So, we'll continue here. Just give it a few more weeks. Again, I'm super duper glad that they've reduced the construction cost of power plants. Injured farmers. Farmers in Rhineland have been making appeals to the government about the dangers of the equipment they're using, and would like to have some sort of health care to reduce the hardships for them. Neighbor came over to my house the other day. As he stood there at the door, grabbing his right hand with his left, I realized he cut three of his fingers clean off. I was no doctor, but he needed help, so I gave him the best I could. Just wish there was someone he could have gone to that knew better. Try and offer help, 10% accident chance. Focus on establishing health care. Extra mortality for 5 years, 40% accident chance. Or this isn't for the poor anyways. Huge increase to mortality, 50% accident chance. I'm going to try to offer help. I'm not particularly... I'm extremely confident in my ability to pass this law, to be completely honest. I'm not really concerning myself with enactment chance over much, at least not enough to accept mortality over it. I got a good-sized population, decent population growth. It's going to go up, but only very marginally when we get private health insurance unlocked, because it's private, and it's not going to affect the overwhelming majority of the people that much. Ruhr, Nordrhein, Rhineland, and Bayern. These time modifiers are going away. Oh, except for Bayern. Bayern needs some additional governance. We'll give them a little governance. Actually, I'm going to need a little bit more governance capacity myself. Although, I suppose I could wait until I hit central planning, which is currently spreading, and then simply change up the methods, because I'm producing a lot of telephones. Railroad boom. The growth of branch lines along the main rail routes has been immensely valuable to the growth of our burgeoning rail industry. A child has been arrested for picking up coal alongside newly laid tracks. If the youth had been smart enough to steal the whole railroad, he would have been hailed as the Napoleon of industry. The railroads of Vojvodina shall prosper, extra railway building throughput in Vojvodina, or the locomotive builders of Baden should benefit from this boom. Extra motor industries throughput in Baden. I'm always going to benefit the motor industries throughput. I think this is kind of a no-brainer. We're definitely no-braining. We're in the no-brain zone. No thoughts, head empty, improve motor industries. That's the way we do things over here in the GenCat government. Alright, that's another round of power plants finished. Let's go ahead and hit those buttons again. And there we go, and there we go. And we'll do the same with the livestock ranches, which are... I passed them. I've gone past them. It's fine. I know where I'm going and what I'm doing. Progress to ascent. Wonderful. Just delightful. Gosh, I hope building all these power plants is worth it. Because I am spending a huge, just a barrel full of cash. I've already gone up 6K in interest, and I'm charitably halfway there. Let's take a quick look at... Let me see, these are... Okay, Banat is actually low in taxation capacity. Alright, so we'll build up 3 levels of taxation capacity there. Again, I'm just trying to build up enough so that when I've got private healthcare, I'm able to get it. Because colonial affairs is eating up a lot of institutional whatevers that I don't feel like I need. Let's take a quick look at taxation capacity. No, I'm not gonna look at taxation capacity. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna build. I'm gonna use the tech. I'm gonna use the technology. We have the technology to provide the taxation capacity that we need in order to function. Is Hannover going down in Liberty Desire? They're not. They're still being supported by these other countries. That's rude. How dare? How absolute dare? How much longer is our truce? How much longer till I can annex? 8 months. Alright. I think I've ultimately made the right decision not increasing my infamy, because that'll let me infamyize plenty. I don't want to get them... I don't think I have the capacity to get them down to low liberty desire this time. Popular playwright endorses reform. In the midst of the debate surrounding private health insurance, one of the country's leading playwrights, strongly associated with the Industrialists, has staged a widely claimed play whose politically laden theme makes no secret of the author's desire for the law to be passed. The man's viewpoints may be somewhat partisan, but, sir, you cannot argue with his prose. Private health insurance will be on everyone's lips now. This sure puts the Industrialists in a good light. Well, let's ensure the play gets a wider international audience. First one gives us extra enactment chance. Second one gives us extra stronger Industrialists. Third one gets us more prestige. I'm definitely going to go with the prestige at this stage of the game. I'm still in second behind Britain, but that's because Britain's got a much larger navy than I've got. And that's something that I'll definitely be able to deal with long term. Ooh, I've got some authority to play with because my socialist movement has collapsed. That's exciting. Let's go ahead and throw in a couple more consumption taxes. I can tax meat, but it's more efficient to tax liquor and luxury clothes. So we'll do that. And that'll be nice. That'll be a very nice, solid shot in the arm for the government, cash flow-wise. I could drop military wages back to Midland, but I don't think I'm actually going to do that. It's not that much money, and I could really use the armed forces' approval. So, 54% success on private healthcare. Industrialists really are not as happy as I thought they were going to be. Because we're not doing happy things with Great Britain right now. Pebrine outbreak in southern Transylvania. The outbreak of the silkworm disease pebrine in Italy has spread to Austrian soil. The silk plantations in southern Transylvania have been experiencing mass deaths among their silkworms. Southern Transylvania. Okay, so that is a place that I've got a hold of. We're calling it Siebenbergen. Yes, every single one of them from the last batch, covered in brown spots and dying one by one. There's not a strand of silk among them. The same report had begun to trickle in from nearly every farm in southern Transylvania. Thousands upon thousands of silkworms afflicted. Shrunken, lethargic, poor development, and not a wisp of vital, priceless silk. We must act at once. Reduced silk output by 75% for 10 years. Or damn this Italian negligence. Decays Austrian relations with Italy and no other effect. We'll just say we must act at once. So, pebrine epidemic. If you've been following this channel, you've seen these. You can feel free to pause and give this a read. But basically, we got to get pasteurization. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get pasteurization as soon as we're done with NCO training. I need NCO training because I need to be able to win the massive war that's probably coming. But yeah, that's the core plan. That's the core plan. Let me see. I got a few more. I got a few more rounds. We'll hit that button again in a few weeks to swap over those production methods in all of the newly electrified areas, and then hopefully we'll be all happy re-electrifying. Is there anything I can do to strengthen my ties with Britain? Can I perhaps draft a treaty? They don't wish to take on my debt. I don't wish to give them investment rights. You'll give me trade privileges for free? Sure. Lovely. So that should make the Austrian-British Fellowship happier, and it's made the Austrian-British Fellowship a little happier. So, there's private health insurance. From here, we're going to technocracy. And hopefully the industrialists will be happy enough not to try to stall the damn thing out. Hopefully I can get some advanced events. Ah, dang. It's not enough. Oh, they weren't happy enough. Gosh, dang it. How dare. How absolute dare. Britain, you old so-and-so? You goober? Oh, please don't crash while you're saving. Please don't crash while you're saving. Okay, alright. That's fine. Why are you having such a hard time bringing up this war, my guy? Vicky 3, what are you doing? Okay, alright. Okay, that war's bugged. Maybe I'll help the British in their war, and that will help me with my technocracy situation. Where's Buggy? It's only Matabele. Alright, I'm gonna click this. It's gonna go real silly. I will provide unconditional support to the British Republic. And that should make them happier. Maybe you'll be happier when we're in the war together. Let's hope. Let's hope. Where's the front? It's over here. Austria stands with our British allies. We'll send an army. Is this an incredibly silly war to send an army to? Yes. But it's hopefully it's going to make our industrialists happy. We're fighting on the same side of a war as our friends the British. It's surely the British-Austrian Fellowship would be pleased. Pleased as punch, you might say, about this situation. Let's hope they are. Let's do another set of clicks for the urban centers. And the livestock ranches. They only think they're going to be unprofitable. The synthetic solution. A group representing the industrialists has requested state investment in developing a process to create synthetic silk as an alternative to the pay-bream-racked silkworm industry. And in the case where the cause for this malady is not found before our entire industry is upended, I ask you to at least consider it. One day, we will be able to produce whatever we wish from chemical still, and we shall not abandon the opportunity to begin that course with all due haste. Where the investment in this time of crisis costs us a huge pile of cash, but it makes the industrialists happier. Ooh, that sucks. That sucks. I'm going to have to pay for it, but I got to get that industrialist happiness. I'm going to do it. Or we will threaten our silk industry further, angry industrialists. I'm going to spend the money, not because of my of the industry, but because of my industrialists, so that I can have a technocracy. I know they want a technocracy. I know those goobers want a technocracy. They're just pretending they don't want a technocracy, but they want a technocracy. Man, we're gonna have so much productive construction when the current slew of power plants is finished building. I swear, it's gonna be buck wild. The brave engineer. A railroad accident in Venetia only narrowly avoided heavy fatalities due to the quick thinking of the train's engineer, who perished in the crash. Only a few people died, but the wreckage will still take some time to clear. Come all you rounders if you want to hear a story all about a brave engineer. Thank goodness for quick-thinking engineers, -5 infrastructure, or railmen should get more than a song for dying on the job. -5 infrastructure, but also trade unions stronger and happier. I'm going to go with the first one. I don't want to strengthen the trade unions. I'm a reactionary. A good, sensible reactionary. Original discontent. An associate of Thomas Mittermeier has approached a major Vienna newspaper requesting an original poem, subtly indicating opposition to the enactment of technocracy, be published in its pages. It's one of my father's, sir, from before he passed. He was very committed, you see. No, when he says that, he's not talking about now. He's referring to the last time such a thing was attempted. You see, it's about cyclical patterns in history, not the act. Absolutely not. We all know the true author, extra enactment success chance. Or who are we to turn down quality work? Stronger absolutist movement. I'm going to pick the first one. That's just going to give us extra enactment chance. Gosh dang it, industrialists, why are you not pleased? Are you not entertained? We are helping the British in a war. Are you not entertained? Pebrine outbreak in Venezia. So the pebrine has spread to Venezia. I'm going to read this event once, and then then I won't read it again. The pebrine epidemic is going to hit all of our places that produce silk, which isn't that many. The ongoing pebrine outbreak has spread to the silk plantations in Venezia. The rate and spread of the disease through Austrian silkworm farms is presenting more and more danger to the silk industry. The first round of eggs that had hatched this week had a slightly elevated rate of mortality, which had partially inoculated those charged with watching over their invertebrate flock. It had not, however, prepared them for the next one. Where before high-grade silk was spun, now withered, brown-spotted larvae struggled in their cells and on an inevitable track to eternal stillness. Invest further into a potential solution? Progress towards pasteurization costs a huge pile of money, and it spreads to Venezia. Or the disease will burn itself out in time. Don't invest. No free progress. Disease spreads to Venezia. And again, the disease is pebrine -75% silk plantations throughput. I'm going to pick the second one. I don't want to invest any extra right now because I can't afford it. I'm so deep in debt. I'm paying $70K in interest a week. A week! Elba. Oh, Elba is in Hanover. I don't need to build power plants in Elba or in Hanover proper. In fact, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel with these power plants. We do have some electricity shortages, but them's the breaks. Just have to deal with that. Alright, there we go. Destroyer is unlocked. And now, gosh dang it, the British-Austrian Fellowship is more unhappy than they've ever been. We should be getting a good, solid, ticking loyalists, and indeed we are. From high legitimacy now. And indeed we are. So that's good. Standard of living is kind of slipping, actually, which is not ideal. Usually when you electrify all the things, standard of living goes up, but not this time. But hopefully we'll have a long slate of investment pool increasing in size once this is done. So, succession in Manchuria. Oh my. A Manchu uprising. Exciting. China has remained remarkably membered through this whole game. They've remained pretty strong. Do you have any armies that are good? Can I see what they are? Yes, I would like to see what they are, please. Skirmish infantry. Okay, so you're building a mostly modern army. That's good. That's good, China. You get them. All right. So from here, let's make our final. Let's do our final touch to the livestock ranches button, and we'll do the same for the urban centers buttons, and then we'll be good to go. Yes, continue. Do it. Do it. Do it. Alright, so we've got some shortages of electricity. That having been said, that's going to have to be on the private sector to worry about. A common cost. Advance event. Seeking to discredit Ernst Mach during a speech on technocracy, a heckler inspired by Ludovico Ruggiero inquired about bread prices. Ernst Mach asked a nearby grocer. Regarding the law that you say is for the betterment of the common man, what's the price? Are you even listening? All the grocer here says it's 2 pence for a loaf of bread. As for your question, it's a rather insipid one, no? A vulgar gambit to shock and discredit me rather than offer anything of substance to the discourse. Shock tactics are unbecoming of this nation. 10% enactment chance. Ludovico Ruggiero loses popularity. Ernst Mach increases in popularity. Or we should peruse the law for false. 1% of South German pops become more loyalist. Ooh, that's quite good. That having been said, I'm hoping we have significant increases in legitimacy as time goes by here. So I'm going to pick the first one for 10% enactment chance. I really need to get out ahead of the industrialists on this because I don't want to sacrifice anything to Great Britain on this. I can't believe it. Did all of... They like the private health insurance, but all the other stuff kind of fell apart. Our truce with Hanover is no longer in operation. However, well, they are going down in Liberty Desire, but unfortunately, I don't wish to wait any longer. 47 infamy. Maybe I'll need to wait longer. Never mind. That's too much infamy. Maybe I'll go with the, they are going down in Liberty Desire significantly. Well, not that significantly. It's only 0.05 per week, but they are, yeah, this is mostly due to economic reliance on us. Is there anything else I can do to make them only granting a state? Braunschweig would be worth 40. They're currently at 63. That would get them below 25. Do I have the infamy? I do, because I do have... Because I think it's lower. I think... Yeah. I think we're going to do this, and we're going to hope that it drops the infamy cost of annexing them. Alright, beautiful. So let's wait a week, just to make sure that the game registers the change. Yes, and now they're actually going down much faster, which is interesting. Ooh. Prussia is no longer supporting their independence. That's exciting. So now if we hit the annex subject button, it's only 12.1 infamy. Beautiful. They will not accept. They will have the support of Japan. They might have the support of the Prussians. They should have the Russians. Yes, they will have the support of the Russians. But let's wait a little longer. Let's wait just a wee bit longer, because they are loyal now. And if this continues on its downward trend, we should be in a really good spot. Because I really need to bash away at this national debt, friends. I am paying so much, so much in national debt, in interest on my national debt right now, that I really, if I fight a war and it's a prolonged war, I might very well be in a position to totally collapse my economy, and I do not desire that one bit. So we'll keep an eye on this for now. Oh, actually, it appears as though the Prussians have stopped supporting them entirely. So now they're really going down in Liberty Desire. That's good. Or the Russians have. So now if we hit... Botched a boycott. Seeking support amongst his sympathizers, Thomas Mittermeier has organized a boycott against the technocracy law. On the day it was to begin, there was barely any sign it had been declared at all. Some had taken due lessons from the Third Estate. Quantity was a quality of its own. If you had enough bodies to support your cause, to support whatever your cause was, nobody could stop you. Unfortunately for a few, that was a lesson they hadn't learned. People needed to either like you or like their cause. Inform the printers about this blunder. Mittermeier gets an additional loss in popularity. And we get extra enactment success chance. Or, everyone has a price for fealty. The intelligentsia become happier instead of him losing some popularity. I'm fine if he loses popularity. This one, this second one, makes the intelligentsia happier. That costs money. So I'm going to do the first one. We'll just get our 5% enactment chance. We still haven't had a clean success yet, but we're at 41%, so I'm not super duper worried. Alright, nice. So, let's think about timelines here for a second. Our national debt is going down by 300k per week. We got about 50 million in national debt, which means it'll be about 3 years before we're completely free of debt. Prussia gets involved in the Mecklenburg-Strelitz situation. Alright. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Again, I have to keep an eyeball on this because, oh right, I was building power plants in them in order to reduce their autonomy. Well, that's fine. That's fine. It's no big deal. It's not a big deal at all. So I think with our current debt around 50 million, I think when I hit 25 million, I'll be comfortable with making my play to annex. I think that's basically the way to go. That'll ensure that we don't get above 50 at any point, but it'll also keep us in really good, in better stead financially. Again, if this thing turns out to be a general European war. If I get into a war with the Prussians, I will have to take another state, and I think the answer is probably Posen, because from there I can snag one of these states in northeastern Prussia. And when that happens, I'll be in really good stead. The other option is I can snag Prussian Anhalt, and that will make it impossible for them to support... well, no, it actually won't. I would need to get Brandenburg, but them's the breaks. There's also a chance that Scandinavia will step in, and if Scandinavia steps in, we'll be in a weird spot. I just realized... Wait, no, it's central planning. Central planning. I need to wait on central planning. It's fine. I'm fine. I keep thinking about that bureaucracy, and I'm like, oh, but I want the things. The people's opposition. The activities of Ludovico Ruggiero have stirred up a significant public opposition for the enactment of technocracy. Certain figures of the intelligentsia are concerned as to how this could affect their support amongst the people. A sea of papers blanketed the walls of the capital, regardless of sanitary services' valiant attempts to remove them. Ernst Mach stabbed a finger at a building at random. Do you see that? How am I supposed to arrange support for the measure if it could be my home being vandalized next? Open a dialogue with the opposition, reduce enactment time, weaker absolutist movement, or the intelligentsia's concerns are wholly unfounded, saltier and weaker intelligentsia. I'm going to open a dialogue with the opposition. This seems like all benefits. The absolutist movement is not really helping us with this. In fact, they're the ones who are against it. We'll open a dialogue. Reduced enactment time is very good for this situation. Well, unfortunately, the Russians... Oh god, don't crash. The Russians and the British are fighting. Okay, I gotta close out this war because Victoria 3 is trying to crash. Japan sides the British Republic. Alright. You get him. You get him, Britain. Oh, of course. Of course you want me to be involved. Why? How could I not be involved? I must accept. But this will give me a treaty with the Russians, which will be just fine. Alright. Let me see. The lads are doing well. We'll mobilize our armies. I don't really fear the Russians at this point. I don't think I'm going to raise my conscripts. I feel extremely confident in my ability to win this. On pure might alone. On our professional army alone. Obviously, this is going to cost us some money, which I don't love, but them's the breaks. It is what it is. I can add a war goal. I'm not going to. Obviously, this is going to cost me a huge pile of cash, which I don't love. I'm going to build up a little bit more government admin just to tide me over, because we're at war right now. Saddam a national awakening. That's a shame. But a truce with the Russians isn't bad. Let's go ahead and set our strategic objective to Ingria. And we'll get a naval invasion of Ingria going as well. Just not yet. Let's go ahead and get the Austrian Imperial Navy in position to do so. North German immigration. Excellent. We'll grab the Western District Coastal Defense Force. We'll station them in Hanover so that they're nearby. Fireside chat. Kaiser Franz Ferdinand von Österreich-Este has decided to use the new and exciting radio technology to connect more directly with the people. It's like he's there in the room with me. It's hard not to be convinced. It should express authority, extra authority. It should make us look good. Extra armed forces approval. Ooh, and I'm in a war. I could use armed forces approval, but it should express authority. This will help fix our finances by letting us tax luxury furniture. Actually, I'm going to cut the consumption tax on liquor to throw a consumption tax on meat. Because I think that's actually more efficient than luxury furniture and liquor. Because I don't want to tax tobacco. That's going to goof up Bosnia specifically. Cause without a rebel. Although Franz Joseph is still fighting for his cause, no one is following him anymore. Despondent, Joseph has started publicly remarking that he may give up on his activism altogether. So he's a nihilist aligned with the radical movement. What's the point? Speakers only have any speak to empty halls and at empty chairs. There's no crowds, no banners. If anyone pays attention at all, they never understand anything we're preaching. What reason is there to stay here? We're all stuck doing nothing. Perhaps he can find greener pastures elsewhere. He's exiled, or no time for timidity. The movement needs drastic change. Equal chances of each of the three options. Radical movement gets stronger, weaker, or more active. I'm going to do the first one. You can get out of here. I don't need that guy. That guy can go. Is the Southern District CDF there in Africa? Oh my goodness, I'm a big goof. Alright, let's bring them back to Austria. Oh, actually that's not their HQ. That's their HQ. They're in the Balkans HQ. A new machine. The new machine. A group of influential engineers have greatly improved productivity in the paper mills of Saxony through the application of scientific principles. They suggest that under technocracy they will be able to apply these principles to the mechanisms of government. A salient point of intelligence is understanding one's limitations. Through this comes the recognition that one's experience is finite and subject to perspective. Without this pillar, human intelligence is prone to hubris. For example, someone may conceive of the idea that it is possible to treat bureaucracy as a machine rather than the cluster of skills that it is. Thusly, treat humans as problems to solve rather than independent variables with experience and intelligence of their own. The industrial sector needs them most, 10% enactment success chance, an extra light and heavy industries throughput in Saxony for 5 years, or a fascinating proposal, one entire phase. And only paper mills increase in throughput. Oh, man. One entire phase would be really, really nice. Let's snag a phase. That's interesting. Contradictory correspondence. Private inflammatory letters written by a member of the Austrian-French Fellowship have been leaked to the national newspaper. French officials have taken notice and are displeased. The Kleinbürger sent a representative on behalf of the Austrian-French Fellowship to converse with the newspaper editors. The representative steers the conversation away from the leaked correspondence. Surely, with the remarkable speed of the printing press, another essay can be authored and distributed. In the backdrop, the loud thrum of the printing press's cylinders carry on, indifferent to the machinations of the men who puppeteer them. The damage is already done, deteriorates relations with France. Our letter should not be circulated further, reduce legitimacy, 5% of Kleinbürger pops become more loyalist. Interesting situation. Kleinbürger are not that large, but I don't want to damage relations with France. So I'm going to take the legitimacy hit this time, friends. Them simply the brakes. Alright, so this should not be too long a war. Let's go ahead and invade Ingria. This is the only fleet we got. They're going across Prussia for some reason? You were already in Hanover. Johnny. What is this? Why are you going this way? That's okay. Hopefully this war is going to go really straightforwardly. Let's take a quick look here. The British are going for a bunch of different... Oh, they're going to steal all of Korea, basically, or a huge chunk of Korea. Liberate Kanti Mansai, wherever that is. Alright, so this shouldn't be too much of a problem. Naval battle, not too rough. We are on interception, that is good. Alright, and we're just moving forward with all of our other business. We got 3 battles going here. We are handily winning all of them, so I'm feeling very confident in my ability to win this war. In fact, with the enemy blundering in this naval invasion battle, we are sweeping forward extremely effectively. Let me see. Investment pool is progressing at a healthy clip. So I'm feeling pretty rock solid about that. I've already got hold of all of Volhynia. The enemy has moved a bunch of troops back to Ingria to defend against my naval invasion, but I'm, again, basically going to do all of this war by myself. How is the situation in Hanover? Okay, Hanover is continuing to reduce in liberty desire. There is central planning. So, let's take a look. Westfalen is the only place we're low in taxation capacity due to due to they're not finished incorporating. Alright, so we'll swap over the ones in Austria, and that will allow us to get a little bit more healthcare going. So let me see. And then as locations have shortages of taxation capacity, we'll improve the production method of the government sectors in those locations. The Austrian-British Fellowship has requested that we establish an embargo against the Netherlands. The Netherlands is a known opponent of British interests. We must be as comprehensive as possible. Any other approach is irresponsible. Dutch aggression is as old as the hills. I fear that it may appear as if we are using our own nation as a piece on a chessboard, for the sake of a foreign power, no less. What would you say if pressed? A circumstantial alignment will not subordinate us. In this case, British interests happen to be Austrian interests. It is as simple as that. We will look into this as the lobby demand, or this is not in our interest, makes the Austrian-British Fellowship unhappy. I'm going to say we'll look into it, and I'm going to freaking embargo in the Netherlands, because I absolutely, desperately need them to be happier. The Austrian-British Fellowship, I mean. Socialist movement organizes in Saxony. Organizers affiliated with the Socialist movement have embarked on a focused campaign to inspire support for old age pensions in Saxon. Residents of every region in the world like to say that their home has a long and unique history of tight-knit community. The organizer almost agreed. The problem was, of course, that said community did not often extend to outsiders. He'd been thrown out on his ear more times than he could count, but he persisted nonetheless. If he could introduce the right phrase into the right circles, perhaps even an idea that had been rejected out of hand at first would begin to find purchase. There are plenty of willing ears in Saxon, stronger socialist movement. Saxon gets increased pop political strength and increased radicals from political movements. Or they must be concerned with far more grounded things. Half the modifiers to Saxony and the socialist movement does not increase. I'm going to pick the second one. I think it's just a no-brainer for a reactionary run. There's lobby demand completed. The Industrialists are up, but only to neutral. I didn't get that much approval. That's a tragedy. A real tragedy. A crying shame, in fact. Guns and steam. Anton Haus has successfully deployed our impressive dreadnoughts in the ongoing conflict, proving that they are not mere vanity projects for the Navy. At first, onlookers were shocked. As it appeared from a distance, the ship itself had exploded. In fact, the flames engulfing it were from its first full broadside. The ship itself was quite unharmed, although I have heard that it is inadvisable to keep any fragile objects on board for such an occasion. Let's see if I can refill my water without pouring water all over the table, as is my usual custom. I did it once. I haven't been smart about managing my water supply this time, so I got 2 little mugs here with refills for my water. More impressive now than ever, extra prestige, or now we know how to use them effectively, even in peacetime, extra prestige from Navy power projection. I'm just going to go with the raw prestige. I think that's the most sensible way to do this. I am losing my naval invasion, but on the plus side, force comparison in my land invasion of Russia is so extreme that it will not be an issue. A new Angolan uprising in Brazil. Interesting. That's exciting. You get him, New Angola. I believe in you. You can do it. Alright, so we are making solid progress towards Ingria. Obviously we're losing the naval invasion, but we're winning the land invasion, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Russia probably will have war support protection for a while. But once we get the capital, that'll go away, and then this whole thing will be hunky-dory. How fast are they losing war support? 2 per week. It's not great. It's not great. It could definitely be worse. I could increase taxation, but I don't want to. And there is technocracy. That's beautiful. We now have appointed bureaucrats and a shortage of bureaucracy. That's okay, though. Let's see. Where do we have a lot of government admin? Let's grab the one in Berlin. Increase that. There we go. Beautiful. So, how does that change up our legitimacy? Options. They're really basically the same. So we're doing well. The new machine. Interesting. Look at this. We have an event. The establishment of a technocracy in Austria has represented a tremendous step towards the realization of a competent, orderly, and wealthy society. However, the mere presence of the Kaiser and the board of directors does not suffice to erase the mistakes and inefficiencies of the old order. Much work remains yet to realize our transformation of society, and the masses remain skeptical of our project. To cement the new regime, we must complete our agenda and demonstrate that technocracy will realize the era of peace and plenty that they desire. Will complete if the new machine bar has reached 100%. Austria has enacted technocracy, appointed bureaucrats, compulsory primary school, public schools, either interventionism or command economy, and has no insurrectionary political movements. Will fail if we lose our technocracy. So, I need compulsory primary school. How can I make that happen? I basically cannot. So, maybe we won't worry about that then. Education need not be for everyone, so this bar retreats when we have high legitimacy and from having the interventionism in our economic policy. Ooh, and we are winning our naval invasion once again. Excellent. Perhaps the Russians realized they needed to defend their land front. Perhaps they simply realized they could not win. Maybe the British invaded Korea. The British invaded Korea. That's what happened. Okay, so this war is basically over. This war is basically over. Because I think this landing may be the end of the, maybe the conclusion of the naval invasion. You did well, Western District Coastal Defense Force. You did really well. What a wonderful, successful invasion. Excellent. And there we go. So that is probably... Yep, that's the end of Russian war support protection. And that means it's just going to be... It's going to be like 25-ish more weeks. Let's go ahead and grab a few more. Are there any places where we're low on taxation capacity? Doesn't appear that we are. Let's swap over the ones in Styria next. I think this just makes good sense. And then maybe Tyrol. We'll do all of old Austria. This is Tyrol. Doesn't have any government sectors. Wonderful. I did it. And there's NCO training. Let's go ahead and upgrade all our units right away. That is going to be a huge shot in the arm militarily. This is basically going to allow us to win any war which we may choose to have. What about Transdanubia? Transdanubia has no world market access. Unbelievable. Oil rush subsides. With the groundwork of the Vojvodina oil industry complete, its appeal and promise is waning among those seeking to carve out their own fortune. The nature of these operations is that eventually a few people will hold all the cards. The industry lives on, but our hands are played. We were not among the few. But the oil will last forever. Oil rush forced on for 10 years. This increases oil industry mortality and reduces oil industry standard of living. I don't want that. Those are the only things I care about. All this migration attraction, extra oil industry employees, and increased oil extractors throughput, it's not useful to me. Or shuffle the expertise into manufacturing, increase manufacturing industries throughput. Then I pick that second one. It just seems like the way to go. I don't really see another reasonable way to go with it. Alright, so Russia is now very, very low in liberty desire. In war support. Little slip of the tongue there, I guess. Hanover is continuing to go down in liberty desire. We are below 25 infamy, which is very, very good. This means that if the Prussians decide to fight us, we can take a healthy chunk of land from them. From here, it will be a simple matter to just grab and devour all of the little German states that are within our borders, completely encircled by us. So that shouldn't be much of an issue. The obligation owed to us by Italy is expiring. I'm going to absolve it. This is going to improve relations to poor. And I'm going to improve relations a little bit. We'll see if they continue to try to decay relations on their end. If they do, them's the breaks. But I feel that it would be reasonable for the other powers in Europe to cease their needless antagonism of the Austrian realm. Indian uprising. Ooh, interesting. The British Raj is collapsing. Prejudiced employers. Franco-Provençal people are having a hard time getting employed in Mähren due to the prejudices of some of their South German employers. I went to apply for a warehouse job. They took one look at me and told me the job wasn't for my kind. Work is for everyone, reduced authority, or it's up to bosses to decide who they hire. -2 standard living for Franco-Provençal in Mähren. How many Franco-Provençal people are there in Mähren? Sorry to be mercenary about it. 520? It's up to bosses to decide who they hire. Sorry, the 500 people living in Mähren. I just don't... It's not that many. There's not that many of you. Political migration. The rich and unstable environment in Austria has proven attractive to political exiles and stateless people who have begun to congregate in the coffeehouses of Vienna. Oh, Vienna, you flawed yet fiery jewel. Where else could one see 3 different demonstrations within a 5 minutes walk? They're welcome to join the Sea of Voices, extra prestige, extra radicals from political movements, and Reinaldo Canalizo becomes employed in Austria. He's a positivist aligned with the intelligentsia. Excellent. Or these people make a mockery of Austria, reduce prestige, reduce radicals from political movements. I'm going to pick the first one. Having another positivist around here seems like the right call. Can I get... Once again, is there... Well... I don't have any slots for guys, so that's for agitators, so that's simply a non-question. I really hope the British do not pull me into this, but I don't think they're going to, because the British Raj does appear to be leading this this event. Lighthouse of Progress. Looking to the French system of census suffrage with a great sense of admiration, members of the Catholic Church have been flocking to the pro-French societies as of late. To pro-French societies of late. When I speak French Republic, alas, the first matters that spring to the minds of many of our dear countrymen will be those pertaining to foreign politics and not domestic. However, it is to the former, and not the latter, that we must look for the foundations of a true and strong bond between our two nations. There is some merit in the French system. They join the fellowship, or mob rule has no place in Austria. 2% of Catholic Church pops become more radical. I'm going to pick the second one. That's virtually nobody. The Catholic Church are totally marginalized in Austria. How much damage are we doing to the land here and the people who live on it? Quite a bit. Quite a bit. It's bad. It's bad, friends. We're devastating Russia pretty bad. But, you know, we're going to win the war. We're going to win the war, and it's going to be worth it? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things go. Hopefully our finances will be better going forward. Because, again, I really need to get Hanover annexed. Although I guess, again, it's not really a rush. Having lower infamy would allow me to steal more and more territory from Prussia as time goes by. I'll probably get really, really high in infamy as things go. All my neighbors are belligerent, but I've currently got the upper hand militarily. Alright, the India thing is not going to be my problem, which is very good, because I do not have the capacity to deal with this. And if an Indian uprising wins, that's actually probably genuinely good for me. France, I swear to God, why are you like this? Why are you like this? I can't afford to fund lobbies. It's too much. France is too large. I can't simply lobby them. Unbelievable. How dare. Alright, so once this war gets done, unfortunately, I am still paying a barrel full of interest. Britain pulling me into this war with Russia was a huge cash sink. Wow, okay, they only went for the Liberate War goal and they didn't do any of the other stuff. I feel kind of underutilized, to be honest. That's weird. Oh, I wonder if, yes, Korea had already pieced out of the war at some point. That's why that happened that way. Alright, so, ooh, there's mechanized farming unlocked, which is going to make the, ooh, I forgot I had NCO incorporation available. Excellent. Which is going to make our livestock ranches able to be way more profitable using even more intensive practices. Excellent. Cash flow is really good, but unfortunately we are now going to just completely bash away all of our good stuff. Well, hold on. They're currently at 10 Liberty Desire, which I believe means they might say yes to annexation. 60%! Let's do it. Wonderful. That's the best. Alright, let's work on incorporating these territories. Wow, what the hell happened to our authority? What on earth? We stole a company. We stole a oh my god, we stole 4 companies. Alright, hold on. I need to be conscientious about this. Austrian Metals Incorporated. This increased pollution health effects reduction, but increased steel mills throughput? Absolutely not. Combined Austrian Grain Company. Not currently producing prestige goods. Extra livestock ranches throughput? Hell no. Elba Forestries. Extra infrastructure. That's not bad. Austrian Fabrics. Extra textile mills throughput? No. Alright, are we still over? We're still over. I need to cut even one more. Sorry, Elba Forestries. You're not of any use to me. Alright, so, from here, the Prussians did not have any ability to stop us. If we snag Schleswig-Holstein, that'll put us way over the over our infamy limit. But on the other hand, I'm feeling a little feisty, to be completely honest, friends. I'm feeling I'm feeling a little inordinately confident with our ability to go buck wild here. I am gonna get a few more. Right, we need to reset production methods. And are there states we still need to? Ah, yes, Braunschweig, of course, which we hadn't incorporated before. Oh. And Saxon, right. Oh, we don't have power in Saxon. So let's build up power in Saxon. My goodness, I can't believe I forgot Saxony. I suppose I should electrify Hanover and Elba, now that we've got them as well. Obviously, that's going to cost us a huge barrel full of cash. But it's okay. It's not for that long. We're just doing a little bit of electrification, just a little bit, and then we'll keep on paying down our national debt. Oh man, that's hard to manage. We've still got a lot of radicals in the nation. Slowly, we're building up a solid bank of loyalists with our high legitimacy, which is really, really high. But you know, we're doing our best with this. So one thing I could do, the children do desire a republican form of government, and if I form a republican form of government, I'll probably put a poll in the posts tab about this. Because if we I could form the Pan-European Technate when I finally form Central Europe, and that could be my way. That could be how I go about things. It would be nice. I'm comfortable actually with a really, really high level of infamy right now, but what I'm not comfortable with is a really, really high level of debt, and that's kind of the main reason I'm holding off, because again, the stupid British made me fight an entire war with Russia over this whole business, and I don't really desire that. It's not great, you see. It's not useful to me. Alright, so with all those buildings built, we'll reset production methods in these areas as well, and that'll be just fine. Now, we'll grab our government sectors. Where do we not have electricity? Montenegro. Well, you're right. I'd forgotten about you, Montenegro. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's close this expanded tab here, and then we'll take a look at our government sectors, because I need to get myself a little bit more bureaucracy to increase healthcare. Yeah, we'll just grab... I can probably turn Gelra into just Gelra at this point. Then we'll do Württemberg, Baden, Hanover, and Bayern. Just for the moment. Austrian Gelra, you are just Gelra. Alright, this should give me enough capacity to increase healthcare up to level 4, and that should be very nice. Ooh, I can increase home affairs. Increasing home affairs is very, very good. It'll depend. It'll depend. I may end up seeking more, oh my gosh, what do you call them? What do you call it? Oh, I'm so freaking dumb. I'm so dumb. I may end up producing more, seeking more bureaucratic capacity as time goes by. But not too soon with that. So, if I go for Schleswig-Holstein, who tries to stop me? No one. USA, maybe. Netherlands, Dutch East Indies. Netherlands, you're a minor at this stage, which means if I can steal those territories, I will. Because I think I can take the USA in a fight, particularly... Oh, they're actually... Well, they have very high capacity for mobilization, but what kind of army have they got? Well, nothing in Virginia, that's for sure. Where are your barracks, USA? Lancers, okay, that doesn't provide me with any useful information. Trench infantry. Okay, so I'm above them technologically. So I can take them in a fight. I can definitely take them in a fight. Still have a lot of subsidies. I don't think there's any way I can avoid that, though. Subventions I kind of need. See, it's all these expenses are nominally temporary, but they add up over a long period of time. Okay, I think if the Netherlands 22.5 and 22.5, so it's 45 total infamy to take all of the continental Netherlands. So if I grab Schleswig-Holstein, that's going to be 18. That'll still keep me below 100. I might do it. Mining accident. A mine in Rhineland has collapsed, trapping miners within the dark shafts below. The scale of the accident has made the tragedy a story across the Rhineland and the nation. They dug me out, but left my friend behind. That was all the foreman was able to get out of the wretched boy. Sooty rags clung to him like wispy strands of a torn funeral jacket. Whether he held back his tears for fear of a beating or to keep strong, the foreman did not know. He was spent for the day. The foreman hoped the manager had a mind for mercy. This is a small price to pay for the march of industry. 5% of lower certain pops become more radical. This is in Rhineland. Or an industrialist, stronger and happier. This outrageous abuse that the common man cannot stand. 5% of upper stratum pops in Rhineland become more radical. Stronger and happier trade unions. Or these mines are a blight upon man and countryside alike. 5% of middle stratum pops become more radical. Rural folk become stronger and happier. I'm going to say this is a small price to pay for the march of industry, because I want stronger industrialists. The armed forces demand the promotion of Major General Xaver von Weigert, touting his history of loyal and effective service. So many medals adorned his jacket that one could scarcely see the fabric beneath, but it was not yet enough. Chest puffed out with pride, the general smiled as he imagined the look on Miklas's face when the field marshal learned of his intercession. Their rivalry was legendary among the officers. At last, he would have his due. Options here are Von Weigert has earned it, happier armed forces, and he becomes lieutenant general, or the armed forces will not force our hand, happier industrialists, saltier armed forces, and he loses popularity. I'm going to make the armed forces happy. I almost always choose to do that. Let's get my water refilled once again. You might think that I am going too slowly, but honestly, when you're doing a lot of expansion in Europe, you kind of can't go slow enough. It just is what it is. So one thing I could do, but I don't want to beef my cash flow completely. Here's a notion. Let's try. Let's try buying the favor of small European nations. Buying for obligations for these countries could prove to be useful. I know there is an event. First, we'll see what the Romanians say. Okay, they're for it. Serbia, my lad. Ask for obligation. Take on debt. How big's your debt? 2 million? That's nothing. They don't want that badly, but what if instead I give you just money? You really don't want it, huh? What if it were 4,000? 5,000? They might say yes for 5,000. What about 6,000? Pretty high chance of saying yes for 6,000. Send it. Wonderful. Now, Bulgaria. Would you like some money? Would you like 5,000 pounds? A pretty good chance they'll say yes. Excellent. So, this might seem silly to you, but what this does... I'll do the same with the Greeks. I think the Greeks are basically happy with this. What this does is it creates a chance that a certain event will fire that will cause a reduction in my infamy. Or at least will have the potential for a reduction in my infamy. And if that happens, then I'll be pleased. Very pleased. I don't know why the Serbians are antagonistic towards me, but could you stop? Could you be less antagonistic, please? I would be delighted if you could be less antagonistic. Alright. I think that's enough time. Well, I'm still paying a barrel full in interest. If instead of this, we went directly for the Netherlands, what would that look like? United States steps in, Prussia steps in, Mexico steps in. Alright, so we won't do that. If we just go for Schleswig-Holstein, let's see how it looks. Let's take a run at it. I feel confident. Now, Scandinavia basically does not have an army. So, I'm feeling extremely... What are you guys doing over here? Why can't you move? Stop being exiled, you bastards. Okay, well, I'm gonna mobilize a moderate force. Oop. I don't want to be in this screen. That's the naval invasion screen. I don't want that. Let's maybe wait until the a week has ticked over and we'll see how things go. Why are these guys in frickin' Russia? You shouldn't be in Russia. What is this sorcery? Russia, I will give you $30 to let troops walk through. Ah, they don't want to. Nah. Well, let's just see if we can bribe them for $30. No. All right. Well, that's weird. This shouldn't happen. This is a bug, but them's the breaks. So the real question is if anyone steps in. Schleswig-Holstein is in the Central Europe thing, but it's the only place that the Scandinavians are holding that is. So if we can simply hold where we are and simply steal that one state, then all will be well, and we will not have to worry about it. They're fearful. That means they're very likely to back down. I have some people I could pull in, but I don't necessarily desire to. I desire to do this with a minimum of effort, so that my finances can continue to improve. Because my finances are improving over time. Oh my goodness, there's a Rhone uprising, an anarchist revolt in France. Even at the same time as there's a Spanish uprising happening. Wow. France, you handle things, okay? Maybe France will balkanize. Who knows? We've seen a balkanized France. There's pasteurization. Wonderful. The root of the problem. Following research into the nature of pébrine, we have successfully discovered both the fungus that is the cause of the disease and the method to prevent it from spreading through silkworm farms. We are now capable of applying the discovered methods to clear our farms of the infection. It is created there again by the bad seeds that are prepared there, or that are imported, there. And the day when we raise in the locality of great culture only seeds deprived of corpuscles, almost all generations there will be guaranteed against pabrine and will become, not to mention consider that this disease, clear to reproduce. Louis Pasteur. We are once more at the fore of world science. Extra prestige or share the cure with other affected nations. Ooh, method of mitigating the pabrine epidemic through encourage agriculture industry. I'm just going to say we're once more at the fore of world science. I don't want to necessarily impact those countries, so I need enough authority to get my we'll cut our transportation consumption tax, because I need encourage agriculture industry, and I need them in Vienna, or Venezia, and Vojvodina? A better way to look this up is to go to my building browser and to look up my silk industry. Not my tea industry, not my opium industry. Do I even have... No, I just own a bunch of opium plants elsewhere. Silk. Venezia and South Transylvania. Yep. Alright, so we'll go with decrees. Encourage agricultural industry. Bam and bam. And that'll sort us out within a year or so. It looks like nobody is stepping into this war, so I'm feeling reasonably confident if we can, again, if we can cross this line without somebody stepping up, then I'll be in a very happy place. I need to set research. So let's take a look at it. Society International Exchange Standards will improve my finances. That's definitely a way to go. Political agitation will do the same, although it's doing its thing already. Military... Could always do more in military. But I want production. I want plastics. Plastics is very good. Mechanized farming is... Oh, I've already got mechanized farming. I need pneumatic tools, for one thing. Let me see. Automatic bottle blowers can be nice. No, it's automatic dough rollers. That's my one true love. No. Compression ignition is going to take too long if I don't do the rest of the tier 4s. Do I do conveyors? I think I do conveyors. Maybe I just do art silk? I think maybe I... Is there anything else I need in society? Modern financial instruments would be really good. Zeppelins does basically nothing for me. Paved roads would be nice. But I think I keep advancing in military, friends. I think military is just the way to go here. So we'll snag flamethrowers, military aviation, concrete fortifications, and then mobile armor. Then we'll circle back to stormtroopers, chemical warfare, then the battleship, the aircraft carrier, and finally modern battlefield tactics. And yeah, and then we'll be militarily active for a lot of the time. British Republic sides with Austria. British Republic. Okay, they don't have a war goal because I didn't pull them in. So they're just here for funsies, which is fine. If you want to shoot at Scandinavians for entertainment, go ahead. Whomst am I to stop you? To stop you, the proud Brit, from shooting at Scandinavians for your own entertainment? Do you have the ability? Come home, please. Please error handle yourself back to Austria. I don't wish to deal with this. Alright, we are nearly there with our home affairs and our medical advance here. Our government's growing more and more righteous all the time. I was hoping that the increase in loyalists would bring the number of radicals down, but it doesn't appear to have done that so far, which is not my favorite, but it's going to be a long process. It's going to be a really, really long process. With that having been said, we've now got our war goal, so now it's simply a matter of bashing forward against the Scandinavians until the war is won. I really don't think I need to mobilize another army. I just genuinely don't see any point to. The enemy is using skirmish infantry and trench infantry, so yeah, I think I'm extremely confident in my ability to win this. Let's go ahead and swap a few more sectors of government admin over to telephone switchboards just to give me a little bit more capacity here, just to make sure that I'm able to continue the institution growth that I'm currently doing. Make sure I don't outrun my ability to do that. The radical movement's quite weak, so I'm going to stop suppressing them for the time being. And we'll see how that goes. I might start suppressing the socialist movement. However, in fact, I will, because the socialist movement is quite strong. The British are naval invading Scania, or Zealand, which is this is Scania. Zealand. Oh, Zealand's the capital of Scandinavia. That's curious. Well, Brits, glad to see you're here. They still don't want to give it up. Gosh dang it. Lost 96% of battles. Hell yeah. So what do we do from here? I think maybe from here the answer is maybe we take a swing at the Prussians. Maybe we saw Prussia in half. Or maybe we go after these small states and finish closing those out, because those are definitely important targets medium term. Can you please get moving? Can you go somewhere, please? This is really weird. These armies should not be stuck over here. If I may need to do some error handling on my own to get these armies where they're going, which I really would not like to do because I like to play this game clean, but this is a bug. These armies should be able to visit a front and fight a war whenever I wish them to. They should have successfully come home from Russia, and they did not. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Scandinavia is falling in in war support. I swear, it's not a Freudian slip. I don't just think of myself as the natural conqueror of all lands. I truly don't. It's just, I'm just used to thinking of liberty desire as the thing that needs to get going down when I'm struggling with another country. I do a lot of agitation. Ooh, there's, speaking of which, I do a lot of subjugation. Let's get a consumption tax on automobiles. That'll help out our economy some. And are you ready to give me Schleswig-Holstein? No, but very nearly ready to give me Schleswig-Holstein. International telephone exchange. It's been suggested that by establishing a cross-border exchange with the Savoyard Uprising, we could improve relations more easily. It certainly cuts down on misunderstandings, so we can just pick up the telephone and work out what's going on across the border. Sounds like a great idea. Increase relations, or I don't think so. Don't. Yeah, I'll do it. So, a Savoyard Uprising. Nah, they won't give me anything. It's fine. Give me Schleswig-Holstein. Alright. I saw my armies get moving at the end there. Yes, we're all going. You're going. Alright, alright, alright. We're getting where we need to be. Beautiful. That's actually very, very good. I'm very pleased. Alright. And of course, we'll incorporate Schleswig-Holstein. We'll build 5 levels of power plants, as is our want. And then we will reset production methods. Now, Pebrine epidemic. To have those going for 1 year. It doesn't tell us. Oh, wait. Jeepers. I complete 43? Oh, right, because I have an unincorporated state. Alright, that's fine. It's fine. Whew! It's fine. Let me see. What do I have? I may need to do a round of trade sector increases. Ugh. That's a really bad shortage of construction efficiency, but hopefully that'll sort itself out in due time. Ah. We've finally solved the Schleswig-Holstein question, friends. We did it. It's part of Germany. It's part of biggest Germany. It's part of large Germany. So now, Netherlands. Okay, Netherlands will have the support of Prussia, the United States, and Mexico if we intervene. And by intervene, I mean eat them, devour them, steal their states, boil them, mash them, stick them in the Holy Roman Empire. So let's look at Belgium instead. Actually, higher infamy going after Belgium. Slightly different enemies. Britain would still side with us. Not that big of a deal. The new machine is close to 100%. This compulsory primary school shouldn't be required for this, because compulsory primary school is not... Nothing about technocracy helps you get compulsory primary school. That's the thing that kind of sucks about that. If I could finagle to get something going better here, I would do it. You know, something with like higher standard of living or something, but I don't. And there's the Pebrine epidemic completed. Alright. The end of the Pebrine epidemic. With diligent effort on the part of both our scientists and the silkworm farmers who applied their solution, our silk industry has recovered from the Pebrine epidemic affecting it. Our new knowledge of the cause of the disease will benefit us for many years to come. Finally, the cells were filled once again with cocoons, the worms within unwittingly undergoing the metamorphosis that would soon be cut short by a bath of boiling water. A worker passed between the racks of wooden cells, the shadow of stress almost removed from his brow. His list of tasks had been lengthened, of course, and his pay raised only fractionally, but it was certainly better than not having a job at all. A toast to our scientists, stronger and happier intelligentsia, lose the Pebrine epidemic in both states, or reactivate our silk industries, there's no time to waste. Extra silk industries throughput instead of stronger and happier intelligentsia. I'm going to go with the first one. I do desire to have a stronger and happier intelligentsia. Now, I don't need to be encouraging agricultural industries anymore, which means... Oh, interesting. So, as I moved suppression off of the radical movement, they've already gone up significantly. Expected change to relevant, 14%. Socialist movement expected to go down to relevant 5%. So, I'm going to take those off, and I'm going to see where I can make some money on consumption taxes. Liquor, tobacco, luxury furniture, and wine seem like the best combination. Is this going to be really good for our finances? I think it will be. I think it will be, friends. We got to smash away at this debt. Well, it's only 40k in interest now. Interesting. Very interesting. The United States is antagonistic. But how antagonistic are they really? No, okay. They're sufficiently antagonistic that they would not simply accept an obligation for $40,000. Which would be extremely funny if the answer was yes. But sadly, twere not the case. You know, I'm not above selling, buying obligations. Speaking of which, what if I bought an obligation with Shewa? So you need to be careful with this technique because ultimately, simply selling, I am paying a moderate amount in treaties at this point. Simply purchasing obligations from other countries can be a bit of a double-edged sword. But if it helps me get my infamy down, it can work. This is all very, very silly, but I think it's going to work. Alright, we'll do one more reset production methods in Schleswig-Holstein. Let's go to telephone switchboards and some of these other areas. I don't think I need too much more. How are we doing for institutions? We're almost done with increasing healthcare. Alright, so that should be fine. That'll give us plenty of bureaucracy to play with as time goes by here. Alright. And we're actually reducing our national debt at a really healthy clip. And in fact, the investment pool is increasing in size, which is pretty rare. But I have successfully created a self-sustaining investment system. Is Mecklenburg holding all of Mecklenburg? They're not. They're splitting it with Mecklenburg-Strelitz. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. I've got so many small countries to devour and so little time. It's okay though. It's okay. I'm not in a hurry. I got plenty of stuff going on. Oh, there's a lot of war goals getting added over here. Oh my goodness. It's the British and French shooting at each other once again. I'm definitely gonna get called into that. Unfortunately. And Britain's got a Korean uprising. Here we go again. So, the real question we have to ask here is, do I take the French Low Countries? If I do... 26 infamy. It's so very much. I really don't wish that. I really don't wish that. They would be kind of isolated from my customs union too. It would be a whole deal. With that having been said, I'm much time have I got? Oh, I got a little time left. Alright. Let's mobilize the armies. I'm gonna once again not run a conscription campaign yet. What if I added a war goal to get a pile of money? Okay, 20,000 would be too much infamy. 10,000, 10.5 infamy. 5,000, no, that's 50,000. 5,000, see, this is so little. I don't want to get a bunch of infamy getting cash, because I don't actually need cash. Not that much anyway. Nah, let's not mess around with this. What if I liberated... Can't balkanize France. Alright. That's okay. That's okay. These things happen. I remain not actually a whole lot closer to forming my, my Central European hegemony, but we are getting there. We're making slow but steady progress. I thought that number was looking really good for a second. Let's put one more army over here. Ugh, that number, I don't love that number, friends. Gosh and also golly. I do not have a lot of good dudes here. Let's go ahead and offload some of these dorks onto my coastal defense forces. Alright, now. So that's two guys kind of recycled out of the pool. So the European Security Army. I can get an intelligentsia guy. Reduce morale loss, which is nice. Let me see it. Better. So this is generally quite better. Inspirational order and ruthless. Ruthless doesn't do anything as a general. So yeah, so we'll grab this guy. Ooh, offensive planner. That's very good. And then what about these other sides? We got some gentlemen. This army is going to need another leader. So we'll grab this charismatic offensive planner. Extra morale recovery too. Oh, that's very good. Because this army is about to take a loss in capacity because it's got an 85-year-old running things. He's going to be gone soon. We're south. It's got a couple of elder statesmen running things. This army probably needs another leader. Ooh, defensive strategist and innovative. Very good. You're going to increase in strength as well. And the European Security Army is basically good to go. So, do I raise conscripts? I think I actually do. I think I actually do. Because I don't want to be caught out if this war becomes silly. Oh, you're also an older gentleman. Let me see. Meticulous and an open terrain commander. I'll put you in coach. By the way, the put me in coach bit, I know how that's actually pronounced. I just think it's funny to say put me in coach as though I'm being seated in a location in a train. Alright. Any other law changes? I don't think so. The people do desire a republic, but also I wish to keep my, my everythings. I wish to keep my traditional system. Let me see. Skirmish infantry, trench infantry, mobile artillery, shrapnel artillery. I think I got this one in the bag, friends. I think I'm definitely going to win this. There's international exchange standards. That'll be better for my finances as well. Plastics we're nearly finished with. And that will be so very good. Let me see. We still got plenty of unspent innovation flowing into tech spread. That's very good. Yeah, and this will be fine. This will allow us to decay some... this will let us spend some time decaying infamy so that when we devour the... Oh, you know, this will also put us in a... This will also put us in a truce with the United States. Which will allow us to devour the Netherlands with impunity. And that will be very nice. So, we finally got plastics. Let's grab our delicious glassworks and have them producing houseware plastics. Shut up. You're not actually... You're profitable. You just don't know it yet. I created a shortage of oil. I probably have. Not really. Interesting. No oil shortage, huh? Where's oil? It's down here. Glassworks are still buying a lot of oil. Well, I guess I was really overproducing oil before, which is fine. I'm just fine with that. Force comparisons here is not as good as I wish it were, but I think it's going to be very good. Now, this new machine bar, this getting to the top doesn't change anything, because I don't have compulsory primary school. A strange superstition. Reports have come out of a strange illness harrying the members of the same family in Lombardy. Locals have started exhuming the bodies of the dead in an effort to stop the so-called curse. Do you not think there are things which you cannot understand, yet which are, that some people see things that others cannot? But there are things old and new which must not be contemplated by men's eyes because they know or think they know some things which other men have told them. It is the fault of our science that wants to explain it all, and if it explain not, then it says there is nothing to explain. Indeed. One day science will be brought to all of us by an important agitator named Clarissa. Just in the case of rural superstitions, 2% of pops in Lombardy become more radical, or a couple of professors have expressed their interest in the matter. 25% of academics pops in Lombardy become more loyalist. Reduced bureaucracy, but free tech progress and antibiotics. I'm going to pick that second one. Heck yes. I need more bureaucracy now, but that's okay. The crisis of health. A prominent Austrian political exile, Franz Joseph, has fallen severely ill during his time overseas. Apparently, a doctor done took his leg. They got his leg. Dang it, Schaff. Why are you always losing your legs? He has petitioned to return home for enough time to seek medical treatment. The character of a man matters not. Pestilence may well come for them all the same. He should face the consequences of his actions. He dies. We can afford to display mercy to the sick, extra prestige. He increases his character health, or he may feel free to stay after he's treated. He becomes employed in Austria. I'm going to do the middle one. Getting some extra prestige is always nice. Are we winning these battles? It seems like we very much are, which is good. I'm very pleased about that. That is also increasing our force comparison here. France is going to have war support protection, but we're not. Let's go ahead and grab a few more of our government sectors and swap them over to the telephone switchboards method, just to get us a little bit of extra bureaucracy so that we can finish out with our bureaucracy shortage and still have ourselves a little bit of a buffer. Yep, plenty of places that we could change up still if we needed more bureaucracy, but we don't. Lobbyist lectures in Vienna. A man employed by a powerful member of the anti-Russian League is delivering lectures and pamphlets addressed to targeted constituencies in Vienna. One lawmaker writes to a fellow politician, "Each day he finds me, I know not how, and quite disturbed. What are his aims? That hired emissary of the anti-Russian League haunts the doors of the Austrian Assembly, much like the ghost of the murdered Banquo. Make it clear they're responsible for the emissaries they hire. Weaker trade unions increased legitimacy, or any concern about the emissary's behavior are unfounded, stronger trade unions. Yeah, give me that extra legitimacy. And weaker trade unions. That's all bonuses for my build. I'm doing big reactionarism. What can I say? So yes, the new machine progress bar is finished. Unfortunately, I don't have compulsory primary school. And I don't really have any way to get there. Because none of the, all the interest groups that could potentially support it, are weak. Ooh! We've popped up to rank 1 in the global power structure, which makes me very pleased. We're also bashing forward in France. Nobody can stop us, and that is wonderful. Still improving relations with Italy, who don't wish to be better friends with us, although I don't know why. I'm not going to expand into you yet. We lost a general, just as predicted. It was the elder statesman in charge of General Command North. We'll grab our new charismatic both directions specialist, and we'll give him a few more promotions. Wonderful. It's perfect. I can do it. I believe in me. Alright, and eventually we're going to finish taking these small nations, but for now it's just the stuff that I can't like necessarily all do myself that I wanna make sure that I'm handling. And again, so every level of infamy leads to a successively increasing penalty to influence, and having high influence is necessary to keep your infamy decaying at a reasonable rate, which means ideally you don't want to have a ton of infamy for an extended period. We'll set Paris as our strategic objective for all of these armies, at least our main ones. And that'll get us going in the right direction. Because I don't know about Hone. I don't think that's that important a place to conquer, personally. There we go. Now we're in Lorraine. Wonderful. And France is losing war support pretty quickly. The Lviv Advocate, an explicitly partisan newspaper founded by members of the radical movement in Lviv, has published its first issue. Between advertisements and political cartoons, it hosts ruthless critiques of government policies. There was a certain brilliance to it. By printing it on the cheapest paper, by skimping on ink, by flooding it with advertisements and large text, one could produce a profitable paper for only a penny per copy, whilst its competitors sold for 5 to 10 times that amount. By making that paper relentlessly and shamelessly endorse a certain viewpoint, one could have every working person in the city aware of it by evening. If one's competitors refused to stoop that low, they would become responsible for their own suffocation. How long can a partisan paper last? Stronger radical movement? Or, is that so, deny them a printing license? Slight increase to activism, reduced pop attraction for the movement. I'm going to pick the second one. I can tolerate the slight increase to their activism. It's only going to bring them up to, like, 38%. Yeah, towards agitating. Yeah, I was right. So it'll be fine. France loses war support protection if we get Paris for, I believe, everything here. So, shouldn't be too bad. Liberate Navarra, liberate Mascara. Interesting. So Navarra is down here in Spain, but Mascara is in North Africa. So we'll see how that goes. Again, our ratio here is only improving. Mindanao front, can't be bothered. Not my business. Not my Mindanao. Niger front, not my Niger. I am interested in Europe. My map of Europe is in Europe. Here are the Russians, here are the French, and we're here in the middle. Otto von Bismarck stands, come at me. We are actually losing a battle here, but that's okay. These things happen. Montenegro is supporting separatism. Montenegro. How dare you? I thought we're such good friends. Montenegro. My giblets. My giblets, Montenegro. How dare you? Hey Montenegro, you want to you want some money? All right, I'm not going to spend that much money on Montenegro. I am paying not a high amount due to the treaties, but not zero either. Like it's not the biggest. It's not the biggest. I'm not offloading huge piles of blood and treasure, but at the same time, it's not nothing. All right. Well, while we've got a bunch of enemy battalions locked down in a battle that we're winning, we're also in a battle that we're losing. We're also fighting other battles that we're winning. So hopefully. This is potentially really weird. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's much better. I think we might wind up with an encirclement in Franche-Comté, which would be really curious. A very unusual way to win this war. Again, not quite sure we went through Rhône, but you know, whatever gets you to the capital, I guess. So we got in the tech world. We're still working on some production techs before we get the last of our military ones ready to go. Oh man, we are just bashing forward here. Yeah, I think France is toast here. Yep, there it goes. So this is good. So this will get us a truce with the French and the Americans, and that will allow us to kind of run wild in Central Europe for a bit. Which I might simply devour the Dutch and the Belgians. I don't know if I'll devour the Belgians. I want to keep going after the Prussians. That's definitely a long-term simply desire to smash forward there. Ooh, France is still technically holding some more goals. If they get to the I mean, we need to get a hold of Ile-de-France. That's the core of it. If we're holding the capital, I believe they lose all war support protection regardless of what's going on in other war goals. And the reason I think that's the case is because if you lose your capital, that means you're probably accumulating significant devastation in your lands. And if you're accumulating significant devastation in your lands, you're probably losing more from the war than it might feel like. Ooh. Got a winning battle happening here in Ile-de-France. Actually, we're probably going to have Ile-de-France at the end of this battle. Because, again, we've successfully devoted our enemies to winning this battle over here. But while we sweep north into Ile-de-France. Communist movement organizers in Vojvodina. Organizers affiliated with the communist movement have embarked on a focused campaign to inspire support for workers' protections in Vojvodina. Residents of every region in the world like to say that their home has a long and unique history of tight-knit community. The organizer almost agreed. The problem was, of course, that said community often did not extend to outsiders. He'd been thrown out on his ear more times than he could count, but he persisted nonetheless. If he could introduce the right phrase into the right circles, perhaps even an idea that had been rejected out of hand at first would begin to find purchase. Plenty of willing ears in Vojvodina, stronger communist movement, increased universal pop strength and radicals from political movements to the state, or they must be concerned with far more grounded things. No increase in the size of the communist movement, other modifiers halved. I'm picking the second one, as I always do. Or as I frequently do, in situations where the movement is not strong. There we go. Gotta hold the French capital. And now they do not have war support protection, so it's just another, 20 or so weeks until the war ends. And then we will all be in good stead. We'll all be just chilling and vibing. And then maybe I'll start getting my my national debt paid off again. So I'm gonna concede it may have been a mistake to strike. Workers in the fertilizer plants have had enough of their poor conditions. Working with the trade unions, they've initiated an industry-wide strike in Bukovina. To rescue the To rescue the toiler from the grasp of the selfish is a work worthy of the noblest and best of our race. Are you willing to accept the responsibility and, trusting in the support of pledged true knights, labor with what ability you possess for the triumph of these principles among men? Open negotiations with the strikers. We will have to pass a law or expand an institution favorable to the trade unions. Bukovina gets industrial strike for 2 years, reduce manufacturers' throughput, 5% of machinists and laborers become more radical, or strikes must be suppressed. Triggers the event strike, anti-strike action in 30 days. I'm going to open negotiations because I think if we can get I think we can take a run at poor laws, and the Industrialists will support that. And we should be able to do it with no opposition. And that's going to make everyone happy. It's going to cost the government a little bit of money because we're going to have... we've got some unemployment, but not much. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, actually. It's going to cost some money because it's going to take some bureaucracy. But I don't think... I think this will be fine. It'll get us a little bit of... of Social Security, and I think it will weaken... Ooh, USA backed out of the war. I think it will weaken the trade unions, which is also useful for us as a reactionary. Strike, labor negotiations. After a thorough discussion with union leaders, they've agreed to suspend the strike if any of their major demands are met. The industrialists that rob us on a large scale also have the power to control the government and legalize their robbery. We who work hardest and produce the most have the least. We can run the mills without them, but they cannot run them without us. Promise to pass wage controls law, wage subsidies, okay. Promise to pass the regulatory bodies law, or their demands are unacceptable, anti-strike action. Ew, I thought I had this one, friends. I thought I'd figured it out. Regulatory bodies is going to be a really hard sell with the industrialists. Their demands are unacceptable. I am doing what I can. I should have done this earlier. We'll see how it goes. It does make sense they wouldn't be happy with poor laws. Persecution of Franco-Provençal people. Franco-Provençal businesses and homes have been attacked all across Maryland by groups of South German people. They threw bricks through our shop's windows. There was a note attached that said to go home, but this is the only home we've ever known. This vandalism must cease, reduced authority, -2 standard of living, or our hands are tied for reasons, -5 standard of living. I have to do the first one. I gotta do that. -5 standard of living is really, really extreme. Bulgaria improving relations. Wonderful. An exile at the gates. The relatively lenient Austrian immigration system has long been attractive to those fleeing their home nations. Recently, Juho Heinrichs has petitioned to join the stream of people moving to Austria. It was one name on a very, very long list, one that had passed through multiple layers of bureaucracy before being noticed. One fateful day, however, one clerk, at the end of his shift, pointed at that name and spoke those fatal words. I could swear I've heard of him before. Eventually, Juho Heinrichs, too, will be Austrian. Or we will not have someone like this regardless of precedent. Salty industrialists. Juho Heinrichs is a modernizer associated with the trade unions. Yeah, bring him in. I don't want to piss off my industrialists over that guy. Hey, they're doing engines of progress. Wonderful. I think I need to start suppressing movements, friends. I think that's the only way I can do this. We are for sure going to win this war with the French. But the end of the war can't come soon enough. Let's cut one consumption tax, because authority is a real problem right now. Whichever way forward. Okay, whichever way forward. With the attitudes of the Austrian aristocracy towards the British Republic going more apathetic, their leadership has begun to discuss reassessing the group's support for the Austrian-British Fellowship. It was more difficult to get appointments to the foreign ministry these days. The initial interest they had inspired had long since waned, the lobby's activities falling into Vienna's background noise. The Austrian aristocracy were the first to lose interest, their representatives initially disheartened by an absence of news, then no longer inclined to read the papers when they arrived at all. What reason do we have to care for happenings in London? Their younger members challenged. The elders did not know how to respond. Time for a change in course. They leave the lobby, or why choose something that works? They remain. Yeah, I'm fine if they leave the lobby. Anti-strike action. Unwilling to negotiate with the unions, the government has proposed measures aimed at ending the strike. The government certainly has the right for its own preservation to discourage and prevent the use of force and violence to accomplish that which ought to be accomplished, if at all, by parliamentary or political methods. There is no time to waste on hair-splitting over infringement of liberty. Promote strike-breaking. Extra manufacturing industries throughput forever. Trade unionists angry, industrialists happy. So, let me see. Workers dissatisfied with their conditions have gone on strike as they refuse to work. Their industry has effectively come to a standstill. This lasts for, I guess, 5 years. Will complete if all Austrian states do not have workplaces on strike. 6 out of 46 fulfill this requirement. So... And fraction of laborers and machinists who are radicals less than 15%. Alright, that's okay. We're slowly developing a stronger block of loyalists, so, you know, hopefully we'll be able to simply do this way. Rousing speech captivates the public. This afternoon, Emil Keil, leader of the Industrialists, delivered a fiery speech advocating for the enactment of poor laws. Making an appearance before the public in Vienna's main square, Emil Keil's powerful rhetoric left even his most embittered political opponents impressed. Excerpts from the speech are already being circulated across Austria, fanning the fires of an already roaring debate. This should ease the path to reform greatly, 15% enactment chance, or performances like these reflect well on Keil and his cause. He becomes more popular, stronger industrialists, less enactment chance. I'm going to go with the second one, actually. Stronger industrialists is a good thing for me right now. Again, if I can get poor laws passed, I might be able to marginalize my trade unions. Let's go ahead and turn a few more government admins to the higher production method. Because I need to make sure I've got enough bureaucracy for the change to the social welfare system that I am currently working on. Yeah, I think that's everything. I can switch over everything. It's going to cost me a barrel full in telephones, but them's the breaks. Beautiful. And my armies are on their way back to my territory. All right, beautiful. Navarra wants, sure, trade privileges and allows us to invest there. Absolutely, I would be delighted with this. Now, let's wait a little bit. If I went after the Dutch, the Mexicans and the Prussians would step in. I don't think the Americans would. On the other hand, if I went after the Prussians, I can't yet nationalize a lot of building levels. I can't yet puppet them because they're still a major. But the Dutch are such a tempting target. Decisions. I really desire to devour the Dutch. This will give me an excuse to steal some territory from the Prussians, and again to nationalize those businesses. 35 infamy to turn the Netherlands into a protectorate, but the Netherlands are still moderately strong. I don't necessarily wish to do that. Again, I don't think the Americans would step in. The Belgians certainly wouldn't. Chile I'm not concerned about. The Russians would not. The Italians would not. The French would not. Let's do it. Let's go buck wild. And you know what? We'll add a war goal for Holland as well. It's a lot of infamy, but it's worth it. And if the Prussians step in, then we'll see. We'll see what becomes of things. If the Prussians step in, I do need to seize a little bit more of Prussia. Just to, you know, make things reasonable. Do I add... No, I don't want to add this to the primary. If they back down, that's perfect for me, frankly. If they back down, I'd be delighted. I don't think they will. Alright. There's Prussia involved. Let's mobilize this army. Let's take this army over to the Prussian front. And mobilize this army as well. And take them over to the Prussian front. And I think that might be all we need. I'll progress to review. Wonderful. Because if no one else steps in... Okay, Mexico's in, but I'm not really scared of Mexico. I'll mobilize the rest of my armies just for the sake of being reasonable. Let me see, where are we? We're closing in on pneumatic tools. I am a little bit short on cash flow, but you know, I'm not really... I'm feeling like I can win this without a problem. I'm feeling extremely confident in my ability to win this without a problem. And I don't think I need to raise my conscripts. Now, is there anyone who's, like, close on this? Chile. I'm not concerned about Chile. Let's add a war goal. Let's add a conquer state war goal for... I think Anhalt. I think we go for Anhalt. If I do this, I am a little bit committing to going crazy and just fighting back everyone for a while as I get my borders consolidated, but I think I'm comfortable with that. I didn't realize Prussia only had 6 states left. I think this might be a situation where I really only can form... I may need to consider becoming a sicko in order to be able to form the Holy Roman Empire, which I desire to form. Because I may need to... I may not be able to actually care about infamy in order to get this done. And I may very well need to I may very well need to go full sicko mode in order to make this possible. Let's... And I am going to add a forced nationalization war goal. I'm only going to be at 100 infamy for a second here. But forcing nationalization will be very good for my economy. Okay, there we go. Phew! Almost had a giant problem. But again... Uh-oh. Yeah, I suppose I have generated a lot of infamy here for myself. But, you know, again, I think I can take it. Mecklenburg embargoing us. This might be the first DegenCat live on stream mass and sickening. This might be my first run where I simply say heck it and okay. There are consequences. The first run where I simply say heck it and allow my infamy to go absolutely buck and also hog wild. Plastic production. The switch to plastics in our glassworks is set to revolutionize our industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a world first. Behold this perfectly carved ivory chess piece. Beautiful, no? What if I were to tell you that it is not ivory at all, but a new material known as plastic? Plastic is the future. Extra glassworks throughput for 5 years, or we should spread this knowledge. Spreads it to Saxony. Plastic is the future. So, I feel strongly that I should be able to conquer the Netherlands without a problem. I feel the same way about the Prussians. I've won wars against the Prussians under many different circumstances. Oh. Just gaining relations with the British is going to make my industrialists huge mad. Bigger mad than they've ever been. But I just have to form Central Europe, friends. My nerds, I have to form Central Europe. I've got to make the Holy Roman Empire. I have to. I have to. It's in my bones and my blood. I gotta do it. I'm too holy and too Roman to do anything else. Oh. I'm sure I added Anhalt. Yes, I did. Alright. Ooh. Zeppelins. Grassroots support for law. Political wills and desires of the lower classes will always remain an opaque matter. For whatever reason, support for poor laws has spread like wildfire across Austria, spurred on by charismatic speakers and lively debates in small-time social clubs. They're backing what now? Well, who are we to complain? While their support was never a prerequisite for success, it sure doesn't hurt to have it either. Public enthusiasm expedites reform, stronger industrialists increase enactment success chance, or uses common ground to calm the masses. 20% of lower sternum pops in East Switzerland become more loyalist. I'm going to say public enthusiasm expedites reform. Stronger industrialists is good for me. Heck it. This looming general strike, this might destroy my run, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. If I become a who knows what could happen. I could become a totally different type of country. We'll see. We'll see. You know, there was a period in history where I did a Russia run, and I said, you know, if I bumble backwards into communism, it is what it is. I'm okay with that. That would be an historical result. And I think I would still be okay with that if that happened in this run. And a general strike is kind of the thing that goes that way. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what the general strike does for us and or to us. And yeah, we'll go from there. Prussian Anhalt is conquered. Up in the air. The von Österreich Este airship has been selected as the very special venue for an upper-class ball. The most distinct members of the nation, most distinguished members of the nation, I think is the phrase we're looking for here, have expressed their opinions on this grandiose machine. From this height, the horizon is but a golden necklace, carefully tight around the vibrant blues of the sea. Dinner is coming, and the restaurant is filled with light smoke and deep voices. May I offer you a seat, miss? I shall not dare to write down my name, for some of us have secrets that cannot follow beyond land. The brassy sound of cutlery follows the last heartbeats of the sun in a rhythmic valediction, systole, diastole. Such a shameful eccentricity. This is a scouting war machine. Extra army offense for 2 years. Oh, hell yeah. Look at those velvet curtains and those painted silk walls. Stronger and happier intelligentsia Kleinbürger and industrialists. Or if only all this space was for goods instead of passengers, extra trade capacity. It's only army offense for 2 years, but golly, is that strong. I'm going to do the first one. Okay, radical movement has gotten to protesting level. I need to deal with that. So let's go ahead and slice out a few consumption taxes. I ended up slicing out more than I wanted to make the necessary authority for suppression. So that's bad for my finances, but them's the breaks. I'm not mad I did it. Balthazar Voltaire has been exiled from the British Republic. That's wild. All right, so that's the Austrian army. So that's the Netherlands sorted. We've got their home territory fully occupied, and we now have poor laws. Wonderful. So we got art silk. We got poor laws. Let's increase the size of the institution by a little. I cannot. I don't have the bureaucratic capacity. That's okay though. That's very okay. We've almost conquered all of Prussia. This army can go to the Prussian front. Chile sides with Russia, but in a war against whom? Ah, Finland. And the French are supporting Finland. Well, so be it. Italy sides with Russia. Huh. Glad I'm not involved in that situation. Very glad I am not involved in that situation. So, I think the next time I play, maybe I'll put up 2 polls. One about whether we form our pan-European technate, and the other about whether or not we go buck and or hog wild and just stop caring about infamy altogether and just run a national pariah run while we devour more and more of Europe in pursuit of our goal of reforming the Holy Roman Empire. We'll see. We'll see how things go. If we do 2 polls, then the result will be what the polls are. On the other hand, I might decide myself how things are going to go with the infamy thing, because I might want to make that decision all on my lonesome. We are pretty notorious, but, that's okay. Them's the breaks. We got the territories we wish to get. We have begun consolidating them. Netherlands supports separatism. What else is new? Let's go ahead and reset production methods in these areas. And are these areas that have... Well, they have infrastructure shortages for one thing. Starvation, devastation. Wow, things are down bad. Yeah, well, we desperately need to subsidize these railways, which are being built up. Same deal over here, same deal over here. All right, so maybe these infrastructure issues are going to sort themselves out. Supporting the Prussian workers. We will support the workers in Prussia, boosting the power of their trade unions. Maybe we believe in the international cause of the working man, maybe we don't. In the end, it doesn't matter. What matters is the Prussian trade unions get stronger. An excellent idea, stronger trade unions, or this would be ill-advised, weaker trade unions. I'm going to do the second one. That just makes sense. Let's go ahead and move our armies back to their respective HQs so that we don't end up in a situation. We're going to move General Command north to the Rhine HQ. Because that's the place that they live. And now we're just waiting on Prussia to... Well, they'd be willing to accept... our domination right now, so we will hit that peace deal button. Beautiful. And now we'll start incorporating Austrian Anhalt, which... Can I rename this to just Anhalt? To make it easier for myself? I can. And then we will reset production methods here as well. And then, do I need to build 5 levels of power plants in each of these areas? I don't. Because they're good to go. Wonderful. And what about Anhalt? Anhalt, I should build some. No, you know what? The private sector will handle it. The private sector will handle it, and all I need to focus on is the finances of our glorious hegemony. Plus, I need a few more government sectors. Let's see, we're just doing round out to even numbers at this point. Not really anything too striking or curious about this. Let's build a few more in Styria. I feel like there's a lot in Styria that could stand to be governed. Suppose I could build power block statues. Are those probably have extra influence? You know, maybe I will. Maybe I will build power block statues. We'll see. We'll see how things go. I'm just building a little bit more governance capacity here. Make sure I've got enough to increase Social Security, because hey, here's the thing. Social Security is going to raise standard of living a little bit. We do have some unemployment. But more importantly, it's going to make my trade unions weaker, or hopefully it's going to make my trade unions weaker. And that's the thing I wish to accomplish. So we'll get started with that. And, you know, we'll see what happens with all these, this strike situation. Saxony's begun embargoing us, that's fine. How's Holland? You still down bad, Holland? You're good on infrastructure. That's good. You got a power shortage. You don't have a power shortage. Wonderful. Things are already looking better for Holland, for the Low Countries, now that they're in Austrian hands. So let's see. How far are we towards our goal? We need 8 more states. This is one, this is another, this is another, this is another, this is another. So we got 4, and then Saxony. So we got 5 that are basically within our sphere and able to be conquered. And that means we need 3 more that we need to actually seize. In fact, now's not a bad time to start looking in the direction of Italy. But I think that's going to have to be a question for a subsequent episode, because I've been going a really long time, and I'm tired. It's nighttime, and I'm tired. I'm only a small cat who needs to rest. I'm so glad I got to nationalize those buildings, though. That's a huge W for me. I'm very pleased about that. I think this matter of Hungary situation is busted. I think that's just what's going on. I think if we look at the statistics, if we look at the at everything, I think Hungarians are Hungarians are. Well, that's fervor. Hungarians they have 60 average acceptance. They have 60 base acceptance. They've got 15 from whatever religion they are, and then most of them have 10 from living in a cultural homeland. So they're actually above they're actually above the 70 they need to be at. So I don't know why. I don't know why they're having a dickens of a time with that, but it is what it is. All right. That is all we've got time for this episode, my nerds. I have had a delightful time. I hope you have had a delightful time. And I will see you on the other side.